Zena Taylor, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. We're pleased to welcome Reverend Nell Newton to be with us today. Let me tell you a little bit about Reverend Nell. She's a lifelong UU and a 2015 graduate of Meadville Lombard Seminary. Reverend Nell has served the Amarillo UU Fellowship and most recently served as the assistant minister in San Antonio. She lives in Austin with her husband, where she tends to a scraggly garden, 3 cats, and a flock of chickens. Thank you for being here with us, Reverend Nell, and thanks to everyone gathered here today, whether you're joining us in the pews or online. We have several announcements today. Lunch Bunch will be at 12:15 at Jason's Deli, which is at 5860 Westheimer. Lunch Bunch is an informal gathering for fellowship and to continue conversations. All are welcome to join in, and if you're a little bit new around here, we'd like to especially welcome you. Between the service and Lunch Bunch, we will share coffee and conversation in our gathering place just outside the sanctuary. Unfortunately, we still don't have a successor host for our online coffee hour, so we have no organized way for our online attendees to meet after the service just yet. Any visitors who may be among us in person this morning are invited to fill out our yellow visitor card in the pew in front of you so you can receive more information about Emerson and our activities. We promise to only contact you 2 times a week, no more than that. You can fill out the front and back of the card and place it in one of the offertory plates up here at the front or the offertory box in the rear of the sanctuary, either during the service or after. And welcome to Emerson. We're delighted that you're here. Since it's the first day of autumn, everyone is invited to celebrate the autumnal equinox tonight at 7 p.m. in the courtyard over here. We will welcome fall with readings, meditation, and our candle lighting ritual. I'd like to invite Ruth Walensky to come forward to make an announcement about our upcoming fellowship dinner.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Okay, so our fellowship supper, annual fall dinner, is going to be October 5th, Saturday, and we're going to start at 6 p.m. We were going to start at 6:30, but it's going to be 6, so that if you want, you can come over here where they're having Guitar Houston the same night. So we're going to have fellowship and fun. It's a choice of entrees. It's $10 per person or $20 per family, and we really need a head count. So please think about joining us, and if you are, scan the QR code on the posters around or respond to the emails, and we'll get you registered so we know how much food to make. But we really look forward to seeing everybody. Thanks.
And now, please enjoy our prelude as we formally begin our service. As we gather in community, we look within ourselves and to each other for strength, restoration, and inspiration, so that as we journey together, we catch the spark of the eternal Spirit, and from that spark, we light our chalice flame. Lighting the chalice flame symbolizes to all that the spirit of this congregation is strong, and that our will to transform ourselves and the world is also strong. We light the flame with gratitude. We light the flame in memory of all who have come before, in honor of all those who are here now, and with joy for all of those who are yet to come. As Rob Little lights our chalice flame here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you joining us from home to light a candle or a chalice of your own. Our chalice lighting words this month are from the Reverend Amy Carol Webb. Reverend Carol Webb is a songwriter, musician, and minister from the River of Grass UU congregation outside of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which she has served for the past 10 years. Please join me in reading these words as they appear on the screen. We meet in the spaces between us, the apparent teaming with the you and the I that overlap in this one sacred living moment. As we work to create beloved community, we welcome all who would join us in building a better world with more love, more justice, and more peace. We welcome all who would join us growing in mind, heart, and spirit. We welcome all who would join us in tearing down systems of oppression of all kinds. We welcome all who would join us, who would join their purposes to ours in a loving spirit of right relationship. Please join me in our welcoming words on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. And now we have our presentation of This Week in Unitarian Universalist History with Richard Cummins.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Well, for the week of the 16th of September through the 22nd, there were many, many significant events in UU history. On the 17th, in 1775, General George Washington appointed John Murray, an early leader of Universalism, as chaplain of the Rhode Island Regiment over the objections of the clergy. On the 18th, in 1925, O. Eugene Pickett, the fourth president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, was born in Winfield, Maryland. He trained for the Unitarian ministry at Meadville Lombard Theological School and served churches in Virginia and Georgia before becoming the director of the Department of Ministerial and Congregational Services at UUA headquarters. He served as the association's president from 1979 to 1985. As president, Pickett helped to stabilize and revitalize the association. His accomplishments include initiating the first successful capital campaign in UUA's history. After Pickett left the presidency, he ran the Church of the Larger Fellowship. On the 22nd, in 1662, John Biddle, known as the father of English Unitarianism, died at age 47. This morning in the RE hour that precedes this session, Pat Smith read this particular entry, but I think we all would like to hear this. In 1843, Henry Ware Jr., a colleague of Ralph Waldo Emerson and editor of The Christian Disciple, died at age 49 in Framingham, Massachusetts. He helped to form the American Unitarian Association. And those were some highlights of this week in UU history. Thank you.
There you are. I've been waiting all week to be in this moment with you. Because this moment includes space for beauty and sadness, knowing and not knowing. And in this moment, our work is to notice that the space is sacred. And then our work is to notice that you and I are essential to what is sacred. In other words, let us worship. And let us begin our worship together in song from our great hymnal, number 191, also on the screen, words by Rabindranath Tagore. Now, even though I'm a storyteller, sometimes I let the story be told in different ways. And if we had younger people here, I would invite them all up and we would all join in together, but it's us. So here's what I'm going to invite you. We're going to hear from my friend Arthur Brown. Now, some of you who are older are going to be saying, that Arthur Brown? And I'm going to say, yes, that Arthur Brown. And if you don't know Arthur Brown, you can go look him up. But my friend Arthur is a musician, and he wrote a very famous song a long time ago. And he's written other songs, and this song, he made a music video, and it's so much fun. We're going to have a dance party with the music video. So here, if you want, you're welcome to stand up, or you can rock back and forth, or you can snap your fingers, or you can stomp your feet, or you can just maybe tip your head. But here's the rhythm. Tum, ta-tum, tum, ta-tum, tum, ta-tum, tum. I'm going to be dancing, so let's hear what Arthur has to say.
Wrath of nature, blessings of God. They're selling you building kits. I heard it all on my iPod. Losing my marbles, finding my wit. Building from a wasteland ground. The future's all around us. All kind of people, every kind of place. place, trying new ways with chaos, pulling down the apartment blocks, putting up the eco frames. Toilets composting the old ideas of the entrepreneurial game. Roofs of mud and straw bale structures, wind-powered grassroots souls. Houses that breathe solar futures, power hungry for old-fashioned gold. Well, I'm not scared to breathe in the air. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Turn my face and stare into space. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Mind over matter is a practiced art. Statistics a weapon of war. Towers of power throw a shadow on our heart and keep the bruises sore. It's all one world, just one universe. There's only just one soul. There's only just one human race that will boldly go and go. Well, I'm not scared to breathe in the air. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Turn my face and stare into space. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Nature is our houses, nature is our streets. There is a wild beauty underneath our everyday feet, weaving one web to guide us, to catch us when we fall. We're all just techno spiders, obey nature's call. Well, I'm not scared to breathe in the air. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Turn my face and stare into space. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. I'm not scared to breathe in the air. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Turn a face out into space. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me.
Now, Ed told me you might have to get more encouragement to dance, so next time I'm back, we will dance more. And so at this point, I believe...
Like many other communities of faith, but our offering is not for our church, which is supported by the annual pledges of our members. We collect our Sunday offering to give to others because we know that giving is both a transformative act and an important way to live our values. 75% of today's offering will go to our September Share the Plate recipient, the Women's Home. For almost 70 years, the Women's Home has been building communities that strengthen women and support families as they reclaim their stability. The Women's Home envisions a world in which every woman embraces her unique value and potential for a life filled with love, dignity, and purpose. The remaining 25% of today's offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides thousands of meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. You can go to our webpage for online giving, put cash or a check in our offering plates at the back, or the offering box at the rear of the sanctuary, or mail a check to the church.
All blessings on your gifts, and all blessings upon you as givers. And now, let us follow our breath into those places we might have rushed over all week. With each breath in, I invite you to go deeper and find that part of your own center that needs inspiration. Breathing in, breathing out. Here is a story. Once upon a time, you sat in a quiet place for a quiet time, and you had a conversation about what was good and what was hard. You spoke your heart's truth, and no one interrupted you. Because you were speaking to the stars and your ancestors, and the person you once were, and the person you hope to be. You were having a conversation with what some folks would call God. And this conversation is what some folks would call prayer. I will let you decide what to call it. Just keep it simple as breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
The words for our second reading today come from Erwin Chargaff, who lived from 1905 until his death at the age of 97 in 2002. He was born a Bukovian Jew in what was the Austro-Hungarian Empire. During World War II, he was forced to leave to flee the Nazis. He immigrated to the United States and was professor and later professor emeritus of biochemistry at Columbia University Medical School. Here are his words for your reflection this morning. It is the sense of mystery that, in my opinion, drives the true scientist. The same force, blindly seeing, deafly hearing, and unconsciously remembering, that drives the larva into the butterfly. If he has not experienced, at least a few times in his life, this cold shudder down his spine, this confrontation with an immense, invisible face whose breath moves him to tears, he is not a scientist. The blacker the night, the brighter the light.
Thank you. We are organic, animate beings. And like most organic, animate beings, we are generally very preoccupied with trying to remain animate. We're just trying to stay alive and create the next generation and keep them alive. That is our simplest objective. Everything else is just parsley on the plate, right? However, all of this drive, is happening in a universe that also contains a lot of other bodies, each following their own laws in pursuit of their own objectives. The universe is a really busy place. Atoms crashing about, things breaking apart and fusing together. At times it can feel like the universe doesn't really have time for us. We are small, it is vast. We can start to feel unimportant, maybe forgotten. We might even feel pangs of existential loneliness, and this can lead to feelings of anxiety about the unknown. Do you remember the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks? Okay, if you haven't seen it, just big old spoiler alert. In the movie, Tom Hanks plays a man who is stranded on a small island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And among the few things that also wash up on the island is a Wilson volleyball. In his isolation and loneliness, the man draws a face upon the volleyball, addresses it as Wilson, and begins to have conversations with it. We're a social species. And for the man on the island, talking to a volleyball allowed him to maintain his sense of self through narrative. Eventually, the man builds a raft, and in the process of crashing through the breakers to reach the open sea, Wilson falls off the raft. The man is distraught, and he cries in profound grief as he now faces a greater unknown of the open ocean alone. It is a wrenching scene. Now, this is where I could summarize all of human history, all of our creating gods, as nothing more than painting a face on the universe and having conversations with the face. But I won't. Because I also cried when Wilson fell off the raft. You see, for me, the relationship with a volleyball was legitimate. Because even though Wilson was silent, Wilson kept showing up to the conversation and became a container for the man's love. The island doesn't care. The ocean certainly doesn't care. But Wilson was present, and that presence is essential. We need love to survive. We need to love to survive. And when Wilson floats away, the man loses the one thing he has poured his love into. And this is why we are all crying as he floats off alone into the unknown. During the lockdown of COVID, many of us were isolated on our own little islands, wondering if we would ever see another human, wondering if we might die alone. Many did die alone, without a face nearby to reflect back any sense of connection or meaning. Even now, some of us carry a fear, a trauma from that isolation, that loss, that disconnection. We all felt so vulnerable when faced with a virus that only exists to perpetuate itself. Viruses have no parsley. We were staring into a disease that felt malevolent, and it pushed some of us into nihilism. I mean, frankly, it warped all of us. None of us will ever be the same. Having felt that cold dread, we now know how real it can be and how the stars were of no help. Existential loneliness is part of the human experience, and the unknown can feel unconcerned, even malicious, in the insignificance we feel when we look out into the rest of the all that is. However, looking out into space can go two ways. It can confirm our insignificance, or it can serve as a right-sizing of our interconnectedness. It can interrupt our human-centeredness and provide a context that shows that you are here instead of you are everything. Once you, no matter what your mother might have said, once you are no longer the pinnacle of all creation, you're free to get on with doing the best you can with what you've got as a part of the all that is. And this is a special kind of freedom. Paradoxically, this freedom from having to be at the center of everything, it can help us become more resilient, more resilient in our relationships. It doesn't all depend upon our being perfectly in control, right? If you're just part of it all, you don't get control of it all. And this resilience can help us survive the losses of loved ones. It can help us create a loving non-attachment so that, as Mary Oliver instructs us, when the time comes to let it go, we can let it go. It does not mean that the love is gone, because love persists. It is as persistent as garlic and gravity and clouds. I turn my face and stare into space. I know the unknown, and the unknown knows me. As social beings, we will project our needs for social interaction onto the universe around us because we know in our very DNA that we will not survive without relationship. Again, this is not a bad thing. It helps us. It helps us to pay attention to the very nature of all of the other bodies in the universe. What makes us lonely is when we expect the universe to start acting like humans back at us for our comfort. And that's when we can begin to feel alone and unloved by the gods that we have projected onto it. This is so very sad. This is so very silly. This is so very human. Here's another option. Instead of asking the universe to be human and then be disappointed when it doesn't return our calls, let it be its own expansive, expanding self. And then notice how it keeps showing up. Perhaps silently, perhaps like gravity and clouds, like love. The universe is quite persistent. The more we peer inwards and outwards into the spaces between the atoms and the spaces between the galaxies, the more we see connection and pattern, partly because we're very good at recognizing patterns, and partly because these patterns are often quite familiar to us, because we are made of the same stuff. We behave the same way. We recognize that for every act of creation and fusion, there is an act of destruction and rearrangement. We recognize this because this is what we do. For we are all a part of this great activity. Because even if you think that you are too small to be noticed, please know that you are a part of the unknown, and it knows all about you. Go ahead. Draw faces upon the stars and tell stories about them to bring them closer. Have conversations with the wind, and then begin to listen to all of the ways that the unknown is quietly and persistently right there saying yes. May it be so. Blessed be. And let us begin to close our worship together in song number 346 in your gray hymnal on the screen. Sing with us in Sing a Song with Me.
Sing a song with me. Come
I'll invite Rob Little to come and extinguish our chalice for us. As you go out into this world, please take these words with you. You carry in your bones the dust of stars. Your blood contains all the oceans of the world. Your breath is shared by all of the plants to create our atmosphere. You are lovely, you are loving, and you are loved. Go in peace.